Hello and welcome to WTNB Today. I'm your host, Wendy Benton. We want to thank you for joining us, and we want to thank our sponsor, led-gear.com, for being one of our partners. And let's take a look now at our calendar of events sponsored by Southeast Crossroads Magazine. You can pick one of these up at area retailers in Bradley, Hamilton, McMinn, Meigs, and Polk County. On January 27th, Ottawa basketball will be at Bradley High School. The girls will begin at 6, the boys at 7:30. January 29th, the Blue Man Group will be at Memorial Auditorium at 7:30. Tickets start at $21. On January 30th, Walker Valley will play at Cleveland. Girls begin at 6, boys at 7:30. Also January 30th, ARW Wrestling. This is a TV taping. That begins at 8 p.m. at 130 McDonald School Road, and tickets are $5. January 31st, Ron White will be at the Tivoli, and that begins at 7:30. Tickets are $45 and up. And don't forget an evening with Mark Lowry, February 17th. That will benefit the Caring Place. You can go to thecaringplaceonline.org for ticket information. A lot of things going on, and we've got a great guest today. Mr. Cameron Fisher will be with us in the studio after this commercial break. And let's take a look at what Kyle Motors has to offer.
Hello, my name is Bill Kyle. I'm the owner of Kyle Motors, Cleveland, Tennessee. We're located at 802 20th Street Southeast. We're one block from Blythebauer School, one block from Cleveland Alden Highway. When you come in, don't forget to ask about the service contract. We have service contract on most all vehicles. And we invite you to come on over and take a look at these cars. For financing, we'll take care of your financing for you. Now, we have a lot of vehicles under $5,000. Ask about the vehicles. If you're looking for a car under $5,000, this is the place to go. Now, let's take a look at our top 3 vehicles for the month. We have a 2001 Chevrolet Tracker, automatic, air conditioning. The price is only $49.95. It's red in color, beautiful car. We have a 2001 Ford Ranger, automatic, golden color. Price is only $69.95. Come in and take a look at this Ford truck. We have a 99 Jeep Cherokee, 6-cylinder, automatic, blue in color. Price is only $64.50. Come in and take a look at this Jeep. My name is Bill Kyle, owner of Kyle Motors. We invite you to come in and take a look at these vehicles. Tony Sissom will show you a lot more cars that we have on the lot to choose from.
Hey, welcome to Kyle Motors. I'm Tony Sissom, General Manager of Kyle Motors. Just come by and see us at 802 20th Street, Cleveland, Tennessee. Phone number 423-790-7100. Here we have a 1999 Chevrolet Tahoe, LT, red, new tires, brakes, leather, loaded up. Come drive it today, take it home today. Folks, right here we got a 2000 Oldsmobile Intrigue, automatic, air, windows, locks, tilt cruise. Just a real nice car for $39.95. 2000 model Ford Focus, just a real clean car. First good teenage car, first car. Come by and get it today, windows, locks, tilt cruise, and air. Last but not least, we have a 2005 Dodge Caravan with only 96,000 miles. It seats 7 people. With stow and go on the rear, only 96,000 miles, 2005 model. Come by and take it home today.
My name is Bill Kyle, owner of Kyle Motors. We invite you to come in and take a look at these vehicles.
Hello and welcome back to WTNB Today. I'm here with Cameron Fisher. He is the Communications Coordinator for the Church of God International offices, and I want to welcome him to the show. Cameron, thank you for joining us.
Glad to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
Well, you always have good information to share. You're involved in a lot of things, but one of the things I like to do on the show is just to give the audience some background about you and who you are, and you're a Cleveland native, so if you would share that with them, that would be great.
I consider myself a Cleveland native. I'm actually a preacher's kid. I was born in California, lived there till about age 5, and then I lived in Hawaii for 7 years. And that was a very interesting 7 years. All my elementary school years were lived there. So when I moved back to what they all call the mainland, after 6th grade, I didn't even know the 12 days of Christmas anything else but Hawaiian. So they started singing the regular 12 days of Christmas. That's not right. And so I lived for 2 years in Maryland at the middle school, and went to middle school there, and then moved at my freshman year of high school here. So, and was able to go all my high school years at Cleveland High. So went to school with your husband. We graduated together.
Yes.
I got a lot of Brad Bitton stories, but we won't share those here.
Probably a good thing. I've got a lot too that I wouldn't share.
Right.
But you went on from there to Lee University.
I did. In 4 years, got out in 4 years. That's good. Didn't take longer. And basically have been here ever since. So I've lived, like I say, I like to call myself a Cleveland native, even though I've only been here since high school. But it's approaching 40 years now, and went straight 6 months after I graduated from Lee, had a degree in communications. I started work at Lee in January of '85. Started working with Paul Kahn when he first came on as a vice president. Worked directly with him, just me and him and his secretary and one other staff person. So I got a really good, for those that know Paul Kahn, it was an honor to work with him, and especially in his early days, and seeing how he did his first 18 months before he became president. And then he became president in 1986 and has been president ever since. And anybody who's lived in Cleveland knows what Paul Kahn has done with Lee University, and so he was a great early mentor for me and still is to this day. I worked at Lee University for 12 years, and I was the communications coordinator and did all kinds of things like editing, writing. Anything you saw in the newspaper probably had my fingerprints on it at the time. One of my first goals at Lee was Paul Kahn assigned me to double the amount of news that we had in the Cleveland Daily Banner back then. There wasn't a whole lot back in the mid-'80s. Lee hadn't started growing yet like it has for the last 25 years. And so that was my first assignment, was to double the amount of news that we had from the previous year. And that was my first professional goal, was to go after that. And we reached that goal in September of that year and had a big party, so it was kind of neat. But from Lee, in '96, I moved over to the Church of God offices just across the way here. And for the International Church, I helped coordinate a lot of areas in communications, a lot of editing, a lot of news writing, some event planning, traveling to different areas and things like that. And one of the biggest things that I kind of self-assigned myself was community relations. And I felt like when I went there that the Church of God could stand to be more involved in the community. And so I asked when I came on, I said, I'd like to make this part of my portfolio if it's okay. And they agreed, and I took what I had been doing at Lee and stepped it up another notch to try and be involved in more things. And God has opened up a lot of doors for me, and I'm really grateful for that. And I've enjoyed every step of the way.
And you're still actually a part of Lee University. You were telling me before we came on the air, you still are.
Right. I work as a consultant with them in editing their alumni magazine, and it's called Torch, and it comes out quarterly. And I never knew when I was in college that I wanted to be a writer. I didn't really see myself as a writer, but I took a couple of courses and really enjoyed the assignments that were given to me, and it kind of sparked something in me. And once I was hired over at Lee, that was one of Paul Kahn's first assignments or goals as vice president, was to resurrect a kind of dormant magazine for the school. What a better way to get news out to your alumni than through a magazine. So we revived that back in the mid '80s, and it's been going ever since. And I have been the editor since 1987, basically, with a 18-month hiatus out of there in the mid '90s when I left and did the transition. I was asked back 18 months later to step up and do it again, and I've been doing it ever since. I really enjoy that because it keeps me plugged into what's going on over at Lee, even though I'm not working there as my regular job, and it keeps me plugged in, and I enjoy it because there's so much going on at Lee. Ever since Paul Kahn has been there, I have to give him so much of the credit, almost all the credit basically, for the growth and the excitement and the way that Lee has turned around and just become such a vital part of this community. I don't think anybody can argue with the fact that Cleveland and Bradley County is a better place because of Lee University.
Right. Well, and you were mentioning also that I guess while you were there, the enrollment has started to decline at Lee, and that was a fact that I guess I didn't realize back then.
Right.
And communication is such a vital part of keeping those alumni in tune with what's going on and then wanting to invest back into their university.
Well, when I was a student from '80 to '84, the enrollment had peaked pretty much at 1,342 students the year before I came, and then I had several years later I went and looked at the enrollment figures, and I arrived and it just started going down. And all 4 years it went down, so it's kind of like, and then as soon as I left it started going back up again. So it's like, oh wow. But it had bottomed out in the spring of 1984 at under 1,000 students. And of course now they have over 5,000 students. But they had been told back in those early days, back in the early 80s, that the consultants that had been brought in, and this was a trend that was nationwide, it wasn't just Lee, but the population of teenagers coming out of high school and enrolling in colleges was declining nationwide anyway. So we, when I say we, I'm talking about Lee, had just to expect going down to about 750 students and bottoming out about there. But when Lamar Vest came on as president and then Paul Kahn was his vice president, they decided we're going to reverse this trend. And that's basically what happened. And I came on, as I said, 6 months after I graduated on staff, and I was part of that turnaround. So I feel very privileged to that I was at the bottom, at the grassroots level of where Lee is today.
Right. Well, and now you've taken your gifts and talents and you had moved to the Church of God headquarters over here, right on Keith Street.
Right.
And so tell us a little bit more about your position there. I know you're a communications coordinator for the Church of God offices.
Sure.
But what does that entail exactly?
Well, it's a lot of the same things that I did when I was at Lee. They asked me from Lee if I would take this position. It was a new position. And it basically involves a lot of things that are under communications umbrella. There was a lot of traveling to different events that were across the nation. That's the nature of what the Church of God does. It's not so much focused on what happens in Cleveland. There's not a whole lot of news that generates out of there. Most of their news is across the nation, around the world. So we would have different things I would travel to. I was privileged to go to Korea and help to plan what was called the Pentecostal World Conference. I was part of that planning. I had a trip to Israel and planning a conference there. So I've been really blessed to be able to travel many places around the world. That's just a small part of what I do. I also edit another magazine there for ministers and people that are on staff at a church, some helpful articles and booklet of that. That comes out 3 times a year. I also do, every day I do a news blast to our subscriber base that is basically maybe one Church of God's related type story and then other news that would be of interest to that type of an audience. And I also help to manage the website. And then, of course, community relations is a big part of what I do.
Right, and I don't know that people in our community fully understand how far-reaching the Church of God. This is the international offices.
It is.
It's not just Cleveland, Bradley County that they focus on. They're more global than that, and so they're here. They're located here, and it's a blessing to have them here. But as far as their outreach, it's really across the world.
It really is. We have over 7 million people that are members of the Church of God around the world. Just over 1 million are in the U.S. So do the math, over 6 million outside of the U.S. So a big part of what takes place, there's a department called Department of World Missions, and that department in the 4-story building of the Church of God World Evangelization Center, they helped coordinate all the ministries of the Church of God around the world. The way it operates mostly is each country would have a person that's over the church in that country, and that person would report to the international offices. So it's a complicated puzzle, but most of what the Church of God does is not based in Cleveland. You know, we try to be participating in things here, and just to have a presence. It's kind of like my job, what I like to do, what I signed on to do. But most of what happens, most of what our leaders do, they concentrate on things that are outside of the Church of God, outside of Cleveland, around the world and across the nation.
Okay. Well, there are a lot more things that you're involved in. One of them is the Greenway Committee. We're going to talk about that. We're going to take a quick commercial break and come back with Cameron and talk about things going on at the Greenway and some exciting news there. We'll be right back.
El Cazador is the highlight of nightlife in Cleveland, Tennessee, where the food is so delicious, you'll be coming up with excuses to eat there. And did we forget to mention weekly specials? El Cazador, maybe habit forming.
Cameron Company Medical Equipment, conveniently located at 175 Sequoia Road in Cleveland, offers a large array of durable medical equipment from power wheelchairs and scooters to walk-in tubs and hospital beds. Cameron Company Medical Center also offers home and portable oxygen systems, diabetic testing supplies, manual wheelchairs, stair and wheelchair lifts, as well as home wheelchair ramps. We also have state-of-the-art portable ramps and carriers for all of your wheelchair needs. We also offer service and repairs for our products and most of your existing equipment if needed. Our friendly and professional staff can take care of any of your medical billing needs. Cameron Company Medical Equipment has become a leader in our industry with a reputation to give the best of everything that we offer. For questions and information, please give us a call at 423-614-5962. Cameron Company Medical Equipment, Sales, Service, and Repair. We make medical equipment affordable.
For over 25 years, Ed Jacobs & Associates has been treating each of our clients like business partners. Finding the right insurance for your employees shouldn't be that complicated or expensive. Receiving quality financial advice for you and your business should be even easier. We treat each client with respect and integrity and handle your situation as if it was our own. Call me today for your own free consultation.
Hi, I'm Samantha Young, Managing Editor of Southeast Crossroads Magazine, our area's newest and free monthly publication. We focus on events, people, and culture of our area. Pick one up at over 200 locations in Bradley, Hamilton, McMinn, Meigs, and Polk counties, or check us out online at southeastcrossroads.com.
Welcome back to the show. I'm here with Cameron Fisher, and he's been talking about his history and background, and one of the other things that Cameron is involved in is that he's the chairman of the Cleveland-Bradley County Greenway Board, and there are some exciting things going on there. But Cameron, give the audience some history of the Greenway Board, how it came about, and just the vision of the Greenway.
Sure, I think it's important to note what the name of it is, the Cleveland/Bradley County, because this has been from day one, this has been a partnership between Cleveland and Bradley County governments. I'm not really involved in politics a lot, but I have, from what people have told me, there has been such a cooperation between these two bodies when it comes to the Greenway. They're both in agreement about supporting it, not just in principle, but in financially as well. They are very, very supportive. So I just wanted to say that up front. So it's very important that we don't call it the Cleveland Greenway. We call it the Cleveland-Bradley County Greenway. Mm-hmm. But just a quick note of history. Back in, I guess it was 1998, Judge Van Deeken, who used to be, he's now retired, used to be the juvenile judge. He loved the portion of Mouse Creek between 25th and 20th Street, kind of that area. He had walked it several times, and this is before the Greenway was in, obviously. But he had a vision for, he didn't like the fact that there was a lot of trash there, and you know, the nature of creeks is they're going to rise with every rain, and trash will come from other areas, and it'll always, seems like it will always have trash in it. No matter if on Saturday you have a big cleanup day, if you have a big rain that night, it's going to be dirty again. So he knew there was a constant need to always have the creek cleaned up. And as juvenile judge, he was trying to find ways to get the students some work to, you know, as I guess it wouldn't be punitive, I guess, but just a way to get them out in the community. Mm-hmm. And so his vision was to, as he was doing that, he actually got that program going. And as he was doing that, he got inspired for, wouldn't it be great if people could actually get down here and see how beautiful this is? So that's kind of where the spark came. I call him the godfather of the Greenway. And I kind of kid him about that when I see him out in town. But that's where it kind of started, and he kind of got a group together, some names that you would know, Benny Monroe, you know, former coach over at Cleveland High. After he retired, he worked with him on this Greenway project, and he also got Terry Gallagher, who was with the juvenile court system as well. Amy Conley Moore was a part of that as well. Those were some of the early pioneers and names of getting the Greenway on the ground. There wasn't any grants that were given. They just approached both Cleveland and Bradley County governments and said, this is the vision we have, this is what we'd love to do. From day one, they have said that we want to go from the Village Green Town Center to the Hiwassee River. That's about 13 miles. Wow. So that remains our vision. And about 2001, October of 2001, we got the asphalt on the ground between 20th and 25th Streets. That's between where Keith and 25th, the busy intersection, which is just over your shoulder there in this interview, and going, it stopped from there. It was about a quarter mile, and they got it on the ground with some asphalt. The Public Works Committee came in and paved it, and Bank of Cleveland actually donated about $10,000 to put a bridge over the creek, the first bridge that we had there, right between 20th and 25th Street, and we had a piece of Greenway down, and it was amazing to watch people going back and forth on that quarter mile. They would start just go back and forth, but because they knew how long it was a safe place to do some walking or running, and that kind of sparked it. And from there, they went after some larger grants with the Tennessee Department of Transportation, TDOT, and the next phase was going from 25th Street to Raider Drive. And by the time that was done, successfully got about $800,000 for that. And when that was finished from Raider Drive to 20th Street, that was about 1.37 miles. And it stayed that way for a good while. But that started the momentum of, and you could see people just walking back and forth on that 1.37 mile strip, because it was a safe place for mothers to go with their strollers, don't have to worry about crossing a street. It was just terrific the way all these people came together in those early days. Even with 25th Street, it was about that time when it was being widened. And they had to put in a new underground tile, what they call it. And so TDOT worked with us, worked with the city and county government, made sure that we had a clear passage under 25th Street. You don't want people crossing that street. It just would have been impossible. So you can see how many people every day go under 25th Street in that passage that was supplied by TDOT. Didn't cost us anything. They just, as part of the project, they included that. So they've been very, very helpful in not just that project, but several along the way. In 2006, 2004, both the city government and county government recognized that they needed a body to start that would manage the Greenway. And in 2004, they appointed a group of about 10 people that would comprise what they call the advisory board, and we've since just shortened it to the Cleveland-Bradley County Greenway Board. And that group has worked together. It's almost the same members that have worked together in the last 12 years, 11, 12 years. And they have guided the way the Greenway has been funded, has progressed, and have helped to get the grants from TDOT again. We've had 2 or 3 other grants since then. And it's been a great ride. It's been some great people to work with. I've been privileged to be the chairman of that board for the last, almost this fall, actually it was 10 years, last fall, 2014.
Okay,
So.
and what is your next project as far as expansion of the Greenway? Do you have?
Well, right now we
plans?
have 4.2 miles on the ground. That's going from just a little above Mohawk down to Willow Street. From Willow to Inman is what we call Phase 6, and that has been designated as the #1 priority. We want to get from Willow Street to our original origination point, which is the Village Green. There's not many people know, but there's already passage under Inman Street. We may or may not actually start it on the other side by Starbucks. There's a lot of parking issues on the other side because the Village Green parking just stays full all the time.
Yes.
So if you add that as the starting place for the Greenway, people would tend to go down there and park there and take a lot of the parking. So we have to work through that. I'm not saying it won't happen, but at this point, if we just get to the corner of Inman, maybe on the northern side, we'll be in good shape. We are working with the property owners. If you've been down through there, that little quarter-mile strip is hard to navigate as far as where the properties sit. There's 4 or 5 homes that are right on the creek, so you would be literally in their backyard. So we're trying to figure do we go up on the street for a while? Do we work with those property owners? Some of them that we worked with have said, yes, we'd love to do this. Others have concerns, and you can obviously figure that out. I think I'd want it coming through my backyard like that.
Sure.
So, but we are working with the property owners. We've got on both ends, I think, pretty much secured. On the Inman and Keith Street end, we've got that property secured, and then on the other end from Willow and Brown Avenue, it's just working out in the middle how we're going to get all the way across. And if we have to do a temporary fix up on the street, I think people will understand that, and eventually maybe we will work out some other plan to get all the way to Inman Street. But that's the #1 priority right now.
Okay, that's exciting. And we don't have time right now, but a spin-off committee that came from the Greenway Committee was the Greenway Public Arts Committee. And I know they've been working to get art along the Greenway. Now the Sitting Tall, the big yellow chair, is a permanent fixture for the Greenway, and there are plans to dedicate a stage in the near future. So there's a lot more art coming, hopefully, and as well as mile markers that are decorative and more artsy. So there's a lot of exciting things on the Greenway, and you've had people, you said, come up to you time after time making comments about how great it is, and thankful. And I know that our viewers, I'm sure all of them out there, are familiar with our Greenway, and if you're not, if you haven't been out there, you need to get out and enjoy it. It's a great place to walk and enjoy the community. Cameron, thank you so much for joining us. I think you've enlightened the audience and given them a bit of history of you, the Church of God, and Lee, and as well as the Greenway. So a lot of exciting things going on.
Thank you. I enjoy it. Thanks for having me.
And thank you for being with us today. We hope you've enjoyed the program. We will see you next time on WTNB Today.